I've read the transcript, and then rewatched Kamala Harris's speech at the Ellipse in Washington, D.C. And I want to tell you 5 lines from it that I think were really effective and powerful. All right, let's get to it. So let me say broadly, I thought it was a really well-written speech, and it reads very well. I thought she delivered it solidly. She's not Barack Obama giving a speech, but honestly, almost no one is. So I thought she was solid in her delivery. Of a very, very well-written speech. The speech was clearly aimed, and I'll touch on this a little bit as I go through these lines that I think are worth seeing, but the speech was clearly aimed and targeted at a very specific audience. Republicans, and particularly Republican women, who are undecided still in this election. That was who, over and over again, and Harris didn't say, "Are you a Republican woman?" She didn't come out and say that, but that's who this speech was 100% aimed at talking to, persuading, and convincing. All right, so let me just go through a few lines. I want to start with my favorite. This was in the top third of the speech. This might strike you as odd that this, I think, is my favorite in terms of most effective line, but it was. Here's what she said. And look, I'll be honest with you. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. Why do I think that line is effective and good? Because, again, think of the audience, Republicans and Republican women. I think one of the things that makes it very hard for those Republicans who are still undecided on Donald Trump to be for him is he's incapable of admitting error or mistake. He has never in his public life said, I did something wrong. He's been asked that question as a political candidate, as a president, multiple times, and he's never had, like, what's your biggest regret, or is there a mistake you made that you've learned from? He's never been able to articulate that because, candidly, he doesn't think he's ever done anything wrong. He doesn't have the humility gene. He's not capable of faking it. And I think it would go a long way if Donald Trump would just say, you know what, like, that time when I said Kamala Harris just recently became black, I shouldn't have said that. That was a mistake. I spoke too quickly. I spoke without thinking, and I shouldn't have said it. Or pick anything that he said over the years and just say one thing to say, like, you know what, that wasn't my best moment, but he'll never do it. And so I think by saying to people, by Harris explicitly saying, I'll be honest with you, I'm not perfect, I make mistakes, I think that's both shining a light on the fact that Trump doesn't do that, and also saying that Harris is someone who is introspective, is trying to think of the best way to do some things, is imperfect, just like all of us, is not drinking her own Kool-Aid in terms of what she is as a public figure. I thought that was a really powerful moment. All right, let me go through a few other lines. This was right at the start. She said this, quote, "This election is more than just a choice between two parties and two different candidates. It is a choice about whether we have a country rooted in freedom for every American or ruled by chaos and division. This election is more than just a choice between two parties and two different candidates." Remember what I said about who this was aimed at. Undecided Republicans and undecided Republican women in particular. What Harris is doing with that is she is saying, she's establishing a permission structure. She's saying, it's okay to vote for me. Even though you're a Republican, even though you voted for Mitt Romney, maybe you voted for Donald Trump, probably you voted for Donald Trump in 2016, and maybe even 2020, it's okay not to vote for him again, because this isn't about whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. This is order versus chaos. This is freedom versus, sort of authoritarian leanings. That this has nothing really to do with party, which is the same argument that Liz Cheney and many Republicans who are supporting Harris have made, that this is not a party or partisan choice. This is a country choice. So that message, I think, is a good one for Harris when you think of who she's trying to persuade. I like this one too. This is her. "America, this is not a candidate for president who is thinking about how to make your life better. This is someone who is unstable, obsessed with revenge, consumed with grievance, and out for unchecked power." Again, think of the audience. What Harris is saying is this isn't really about policy. This isn't really about what's good for, in Trump's mind, this isn't really about what's good for America. This is about what's good for Donald Trump. He wants to reward his friends and punish his enemies. This isn't about keeping America on the right track or a different vision for America. This is about Donald Trump. And Donald Trump sort of getting what he wants, what he believes is the best thing for him. And I think that's a good way to frame that Kamala Harris is about you and Donald Trump is about him. Again, it's not a policy-specific argument, but I don't think decisions at this point among undecided voters are made on policy. I think they're made on, for lack of a better word, vibes. Again, just to reinforce that same point, I like this line. She said, and on day one, if elected, Donald Trump would walk into that office with an enemies list. When elected, I will walk in with a to-do list. Again, Donald Trump focused on vengeance of people who he believes to have wronged him. Kamala Harris focused on the country and doing the right thing as she sees it. Again, I think that's important. Let me see. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. I got a couple more. I like this line. She said, I've been honored to serve as Joe Biden's vice president, but I will bring my own experience and ideas to the Oval Office. My presidency will be different because the challenges we face are different. Yeah. She cannot be seen as a continuation of Biden's term. People do not want that. Biden is not popular. His policies on things like immigration and the economy are not popular. So casting yourself as Joe Biden Redux or a continuation of Joe Biden like Harris did when she did that View interview where she said there's not anything she would have done differently than Biden over the last 4 years, that's not a winner. That's a loser, straight up. So she's trying to sort of honor Biden. Like, I was proud to be his vice president, but I won't be a president like him, is essentially what she's saying. And again, think of the audience, Republican women who are undecided. I think that's a message that plays pretty well. Okay, last one, and this is the one I think that will piss Trump off the most. This is what she said. She said, look, world leaders think that Donald Trump is an easy mark, easy to manipulate with flattery or favor. There is nothing that you can say to insult Donald Trump more than calling him an easy mark. Maybe calling him a loser, but it's basically the same thing. So Harris is essentially saying that Trump is being taken advantage of by world leaders because they know all you have to do is be nice to him and compliment him, and he'll give you whatever you want. That easy mark thing will bug the crap out of Trump. It will make him annoyed beyond belief. And yes, in the final days of a campaign, when you're going all out and doing a million rallies, your temperament and how you're feeling matters. So I think Harris is legitimately, with that line, trying to piss Donald Trump off and get him a little angry when he does his next few events and see if he'll say something or many things that may turn off Republicans and undecided voters. Okay. That's all I got for you today. I went through the entire speech, by the way, and picked out 23 total lines that might be worth your time. Just go to chriscillizza.substack.com. I'll put a link down below. You can check that all out. It's free. So you can see all the lines that I thought were important from her speech. But I wanted to bring you a couple that I thought really stood out for a variety of reasons. Okay, 4 things. 1, subscribe to this channel. We're marching toward 50,000 people. That will be a huge accomplishment. I got to figure out what I'm going to do if we get to 50,000. Number 1. Number 2, like this video. Oh, thank you, balloons. Number 2, like this video. Number 3, comment on this video. Do it for the algorithm and the balloons. And number 4, tell 10 friends about this video, okay? Hope everyone's hanging in there. We will get through this. We will get through it together. No matter what happens, I will be here breaking it all down, hopefully providing you context, thoughtfulness, and a little bit of humor too. All right, everybody take care.